created this concept map for Challenge 2050. There's a lot of key issues on it. I broke it up into three main categories, just mainly food production, more of the agriculture side, and then energy, how are we gonna power all these people's homes, and how are we gonna produce the agriculture, how are we gonna have energy to produce agriculture, and government. Government has a bunch of different factors surrounding it. I'm going to go into each one in a second, but let's start off with agriculture. With the issue with food production, with feeding 9.6 billion people in the world, is that we can feasibly create enough food for 9.6 billion people with all the farmland there is, but there is still an issue with poverty, and if there is poverty, then how are they going to actually buy this food and contribute to the world economy? So when we think about food production, we also have to realize that, yeah, we can produce all this food, but who's going to pay for it in the long end if we're going to actually feed all these people? You see how all these developing countries are pretty poor compared to the U.S. and when you think about, and this is how, and when there's poor people, then they would have to either work for their food or somehow figure out a way to, produce it themselves or pay for it. So then also food production, a big, huge issue is GMOs. We had a bunch of speakers talk about GMOs. I went to Dr. Wendell Porter, Dr. Alison Van Eenennaam, bad, big name. Her lecture in Emerson Hall on Tuesday or whatever at 2:00, and she just further talked about GMOs and how they can help us produce all this food and help also reduce, there's some plants that can reduce CO2. There's a bunch of research that is not even being done because of public opinion on GMOs. And then so I guess I'll go back, since I'm talking about public opinion, I'll go into government. And public opinion is a huge factor that influences the government. Obviously because the people vote for all the people in the government, and they have to take in consideration their constituents when putting their stance on issues. So if there's ignorant people out there who don't really know about GMOs or other things like that, then they can't really make any good decisions on it. And then government also obviously affects a lot of economics and health. The economics, obviously, just running the world, and there's a system in place. Talked about earlier, it kind of goes along with poverty, talked about it earlier, saying how if there's a top, there's got to be a bottom, and that's kind of where the economics and the whole government thing come in. And then health, obviously universal health care, and just they have the policy making abilities to do these kind of things. And then lastly, we'll talk about energy. Big issue, especially because we have so many fossil fuels that we use in today's world, and we need to start breaking that addiction. We're making some progress. I've been reading up-to-date articles, and more people are investing in renewable resources like solar energy and stuff like that. But also there is still the issue of pollution, and that goes also along with the agriculture side, where there's CO2 being released in the atmosphere, there's methane, all these bad greenhouse gases that can effectively just keep on contributing to climate change and, stuff like that, which by 2050 we need to have a grip on. I think all these things, there is some progress being made. It just, the wheels are starting to turn. There's hopefully hope. I think there is. And that is some of the main issues that we've been dealing with in our group project for Challenge 2050. These are all things we've taken into consideration when we're deciding on our final project in the environmental sector of the class. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. So all these systems work together to maybe officially, effectively create a better world in 2050. Thank you.